The biggest danger that you can face in this life is losing yourself. The reason why is because it can leave you without you even realizing it. A lot of people are lost. A lot of people find themselves either lost in the finite, conferring their identity onto social conventions or whatever culture happened to fall into their lap when they were born, or lost in the infinite, stuck in a state of analysis paralysis about the truly infinite possibilities that they can choose from, but they never really act on one of them. Truly being a self requires you to have the realization that, yeah, there are an infinite number of things that I can do, but it also requires you to actually make a choice and act on one of those that corresponds with who you truly are. See, when we find ourselves in this balancing act between the two, the finite and the infinite, we experience what he calls a state of dizziness. Dizziness caused by the fact that we look at the sheer magnitude of possibilities that we have to choose from, coupled with the fact that eventually we know we gotta choose one of them. As you can probably imagine, in this state, our heads get filled with all sorts of questions. What if I'm wrong? What if this is a huge mistake I'm making? And this is the essence of anxiety, isn't it? To fear some future outcome that we really have little control over anyway. Kierkegaard says, quote, "Anxiety may be compared with dizziness. He whose eye happens to look down into the yawning abyss becomes dizzy. But what is the reason for this? It is just as much in his own eyes as in the abyss. Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom." What he's saying is that anxiety is the reaction that we have to the idea that we have freedom to choose from millions of options, but that we eventually have to choose one and act on it. This freedom that we have, it can be both a blessing and a curse at the same time, right? I mean, on one hand, we're free. We can do anything we want. But on the other hand, wow, I'm free to do anything. What if I make a mistake? Dread is horrible. Dread is agonizing. What do most human beings do when they find themselves in an incredibly uncomfortable situation like dread? Well, they get away from it, right? They find a way to run from it. This is the reason many people don't exercise. This is the reason many people don't have difficult but necessary conversations with people. It's the reason most people, to Kierkegaard, desperately look for some way to avoid this tough road to becoming a self. Kierkegaard thinks we should embrace it. It's a necessary part of being a human being. The more intense anxiety you feel about making this choice, the closer you probably are to arriving at your true self. Instead of just outsourcing yourself to some culture you can't control or some person you can't control, embrace your freedom. Kierkegaard sees this process of becoming an individual as sort of a baptism by fire. Yes, you will experience anxiety, and yes, you will experience dread and all of these temporary feelings, but just like the discomfort you feel when you're lifting weights at the gym, that adversity is a catalyst for growth, and to Kierkegaard, it's the most important thing you could ever do in your life. Quote, "What matters is to find a purpose, to find a truth that is true for me, to find the idea for which I am willing to live and die. That is what my soul thirsts for, as the African desert thirsts for water." End quote. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next time.